message to, that's it. So you'll all get a message on record.
Yeah, so good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our information session on our Culture and Health Grant call-out. My name's Alicia McCaffrey and I'm the Arts and Health Manager based at Cavan Arts Office. And my colleague Kim here, will introduce herself.
Yeah, so my name is Kim. I'm an art therapist and I work alongside Alicia with our Culture and Health project. I just saw a message there about the forum in the chat, so I've just put it into the chat again, just for anyone who wasn't able to see it.
So I'm just going to give you a little bit of a background to the project and a little bit of information about our current grant call out. So this is year 2 of our Culture and Health Platform project, and this is our national call out, which is open from today until the 12th of February. So we're the Irish partner as part of the Culture and Health Platform project, and we're one of 16 partner countries. So the project organises annual national and international project call for artists working in the field of arts and health. So our project call, as I said, opens today and it closes on the 12th of February, and the decisions on the selected projects will be made on or after the 20th. So the kind of projects that are supported, as part of the last year, we had 6 successful artists granted 4,000 each. This year, we're looking for more in-depth projects for 3 artists with a grant amount of €8,000 each. So the Culture and Health Platform project hopes to support 3 artists or cultural projects that aim to improve health and well-being of individuals and communities through working interdisciplinary with the arts, health, social and educational sectors. So the grant opportunity is for emerging artists. So an emerging artist is an artist that's established in their field, in their art form, but they're emerging into the field of arts and health. So 3 artists will receive 8,000 each to carry out a project. So we're calling for passionate and engaged local artists to propose artistic cultural projects that aim to improve health and well-being of individuals or communities through working interdisciplinary with the health, social or youth sectors. So just to give you a little bit of an idea of what some projects could include: participatory art programs that support people experiencing physical and mental challenges, as well as projects focused on prevention in various settings, projects that focus on socially engaged artwork supporting better health outcomes through the arts, arts in healthcare, social and/or educational environments, or projects that enhance healthcare environments and support the staff's and the patient's well-being. Productions in healthcare or social settings, which could include performances, installations, exhibitions that support general well-being and highlight health-related issues. Artist residencies in healthcare or social care settings, or practice-based research activities, which must be evidence-informed. So that's a little bit of an idea of what kind of projects we're looking for. So obviously the projects are to support the health and well-being of individuals or communities. Your projects can start no earlier than the 2nd of March, and realistically it might be a bit after that because the Garda vetting takes a little bit of time, and the 3 successful artists need to be vetted, or it could be you can partner up and work with other artists on the project. So all artists would need to be vetted, so that can take a little bit of time. And the projects can run then until the 23rd of October this year at the latest. And then participating artists are required to have fluent English skills and an interest in participating in the Culture and Health Platform projects, activities and international cooperation. The Culture and Health Platform have their own website, so feel free to look it up to find out more information on the Culture and Health Platform and information on what our partner countries are doing. So I think Kim is going to take you through our consult form and give you an idea of what you need to do to apply. And again, it has to be something new and innovative in what you're applying for. It can't just be a repeat of, what you're currently doing. It has to be in depth and it has to be new and innovative and to bring about change.
Okay. And look, I can see there's a couple of different questions coming into the chat, and we are going to do a Q&A at the end. So some of your questions might be addressed as we go through the form, but we have time to do questions and answers at the end. So just bear with us. So I put into the chat where the form is, and as Alicia says, it will go up on the Cavan Arts website as well. So bear with me now, that's the advertisement one. Okay, so you need to register with Consult. You need to actually register with Consult to be able to respond and to answer the form. So we'll talk a little bit about that at the end as well. So I went through part of the form so that I'd be able to take you through each page today. So just bear with me. So you can see at the top of the form, there's almost 8 pages. So there's your own applicant details. So I've put in test here and all those kind of details. Then I go into the next page and you're asked questions about your tax clearance, your PPS number, etc. The next page is about your insurance. So again, you just go through if you have your levels in place or if you're prepared to put those levels in place if successful.
And we have a guidance document on all the requirements on Cavan Arts website.
Yeah, exactly. And we can support you with any of those things that you're not sure about. So then your artist work profile, this is typical of what would have been on our forums before. So your track record, your biography. So include details that show your best work. Show pieces of work that relate to your interest or you're practiced in arts and health. So someone asked a question earlier, if I've already done some work in arts and health, can I apply? Yes, you can. But for your application, you need to tell us about why is it different or why is it supporting your development or helping you become more of a socially engaged artist, perhaps. Or maybe you're moving into a different art form, for example. So what makes the work new or different and venturing into arts and health? And please explain. So that's really important. This part is also really important, the organisation or the setting that you're going to be working with. So, like, is it your local youth work centre? Is it your local nursing home? You decide on what the arts and health field is. Is it a community group? But it needs to be an arts and health setting that you have sat down and spoken to them about it. And they need to provide you with a letter of support. Like it could be a local hospital, but again, you have to have the relationships built up or at least have had a meeting with them. So there's lots of different types of settings that you could work with. Then obviously the next page is the description of the project. This is your suggested start date and end date. So Alicia set out the limits that we have. So for reporting purposes, you have to end by the October. I think it's the 23rd of October. So your project aim, what would you really like to achieve with this project? Your location. So this is a national call. So it's not just limited to County Cavan. We're the Irish partner for the project. So it's throughout the Republic of Ireland. So because it's an EU project, you have to have an address that's within the EU. How will you work within the setting? So tell us about your relationship with the setting and your desired audience. So again, I've mentioned that already, and maybe go through the steps or how you came up with the idea together might be helpful. Number of hours. So again, that's you estimating how many hours you might spend on the project. Remember your overall budget. So if the project is to the tune of 8,000, you're thinking about what can I do with this? We've also said here, or I put this note in, retain some of your budget if you'd like to go to Vienna. So there will be another conference in Vienna in September. And you, depending on if the opportunity to go is there, you might need some of that budget to go there. So we just have number of hours, hourly rate, project materials expenditure. Again, this is what Alicia was speaking to. How is this a development of your current practice? How will this opportunity help you emerge further into the field of arts and health practice? So that is really important. Please elaborate on the project process and the potential outcomes. So think about yourself as an artist, and also think about your participants. Think about your own development. What are the benefits to you as an artist? What's the benefit to your possible participants? And maybe think about the arts and health sector in general. Why would it be a good idea for this project to be funded? Then technical considerations, that's going to depend on your art form. And then how will you show your work? This is really important to consider in the context of arts and health because it very much depends on your group and if it's appropriate to share the work, or is there something else you could do with the group? And then GDPR, people's faces, etc. Do you have permission to share? And again, we have GDPR forms and we can support you with that as well. How will you record your work and report back to Cavan County Council and also to Culture and Health? There is an artist toolkit. So again, you'll have guidelines on that, but documentation. So how do you usually document your report? Will you keep a reflective journal, for example? Or is there something else that you're proposing? And then reference contacts from previous projects. So again, that's people you've worked with before and your references. So that's description of project. Okay, so I'll just go to the top here. I've gone through that. So the next part is your uploads. So that's literally where you're going to upload your examples of your work. And then in page 7, you get a preview of everything you've already. It's basically like the last part before you push the button to submit to us. But your uploads are your examples of work. So I'll stop sharing now so we can take questions. So I'll go through them as I see them here. So if you have done a couple of things in arts and health, can you still apply? Yes, you can. But just tell us what's new and exciting about your proposed project or how it's different to what you've done before. Do you have to live in Cavan? No, you can live in any other county.
It's a national call out, so we welcome applications from all counties.
Yeah, and I suppose we have asked the question, we can't work with artists, we can't pay into bank accounts in the north, for example, or pay to artists with an address in the north.
Northern Ireland.
Yeah, but you might be working maybe with a southern artist or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so does anyone want to ask further questions? I know we briefly went through the form and we briefly went through. I can show you the examples from last year of the people who were successful last year. So bear with me once again and I'll bring that up. And again, these projects are slightly different in that there were 6 projects funded last year, whereas this year the budget is bigger, so there's less people being funded. So last year's artists were Catherine Bourne, Celia Richard, Eve Lee, Gerard Riley, and Jess Kavanagh, who are a collaboration, Lisa Caldwell, and Maria Ward. So Catherine is from Australia, and you can read her biography here. She's a socially engaged artist. She works on the border. She's based around County Leitrim. And she was working with Northwest educators and she was working with neurodivergent teens, blending digital innovation, exploring wild clay, pottery, laser engraved reclaimed wood, local wool weaving, eco-lining, printing, etc. And Catherine's actually just in the process of finishing her project at the moment. Eve Lee is based in Donegal, and she was working with Irish women and women in IPAS residents in Donegal. They explored identity, connection with their cultural heritage, fostering a sense of belonging, and especially for the women who were displaced for their homeland. So her project aimed to promote healing, social connection, offer a safe space for expression. And each workshop had a theme. And she based her project on the story exchanges. Some people here may have done story exchanges before. So Eve finished that just before Christmas. Maria Ward is based in Sligo. She had experience with social prescribing and recovery education. She's a music therapist. Um, Her work is still ongoing at the moment. She was working with two different groups, and it was based around arts participation, personal musical stories, coming up with playlists. The project also aimed to improve information sharing with the wider community and encourage awareness of the benefit and use of participatory arts process to support well-being and realistic health challenges. So Maria worked with two separate groups. The first group is finished at the moment, and she's just working with the second. And she also made links with her some of her local recovery groups. So that was more of a music project. Lisa Caldwell is a photographer, and she's based in St. Luke's. She delivered, I think it was 12 workshops at this stage. They're just finishing up on their workshops, and they're getting ready to put up their art exhibition, which will happen this month. They're really nice prints. They're photo prints. And she shared some of those with us at the moment, and we're looking forward to seeing that. Jared and Jess worked together. They've two separate bios there together, but basically Jess is a textile artist, and Jared's background is in visual arts education. He's based in O'Fee College in Dundalk. And so they worked with the Gael School in Cavan, and the themes were around well-being, and it was based around the process. But again, it was a 9-week program, and they just finished just after Christmas as well. Celia's based in Cootill. Celia worked with a women's group. It was based on journals, keeping journals and encouraging women to engage in mindful visual journaling, in meditation. She has Celia herself has an interest in trauma, in politics, personal history, family destiny, and that was based in Lekela. And again, she's just finished. So that's our 6 artists there. So again, I'll stop. It's just to give you an example of what was funded last year. So I can see 2 messages here. So yes, so Helen, bear with me. I'll put that in the chat for you. And does your project have to be socially engaging in the creation, or can it be an educational final, like the creation of an educational book? So I think, Helen, what you're saying there is that is it about you as the artist, or is it more about the participants? And there is a strong focus on the participant. It does have to be a socially engaged program. So it's not that you're buying time to come up with an intellectual output that you can trial at a later stage, or it's not that you're looking for a budget to produce a book or something like that. You do need to think about what's the benefit to the participant here. Does that make sense, or does that address your question, Helen? If you want
Um,
to.
yeah, I think so. I just had yeah, I might send an email just to see if the project is kind of along the right lines or not.
Yeah.
Yeah, perfect.
And anyone that wishes to email either myself or Kim, please feel free to do so. We're available. to have a chat, at any point between now and the closing date if you want to discuss things further.
Yeah, like it's not to say that you can't have artistic outcomes. Like you, for example, you could create like a reflective journal. There'd be your journal and maybe the journals of the people that you work with. Like I'm not saying that's what you should do, but it's something like that rather than you. It's different to a professional development and award where you buy time to do something at a later date. The socially engaged element is very important. Um,
Has anyone else any questions?
yeah,
Lucy?
Lucy.
Hey, Kim and Alicia, thanks for this.
Mm.
I suppose I have a very similar question, I think, that I did last year, and I was there was a participatory arts information session on yesterday with the Arts Council and Create, and they're very specific that the community engage is not an artistic community. So I'm wondering if a similar idea would be for this funding, in that most of my work is with artists, and I see them as a community of interest because they're artists working in arts and health. And so my question would be whether they would be deemed a community under this program.
No,
Yeah.
no, in short, Lucy, and I'll explain why. So the reason it would be a no is because the funding of the artist, the funding is about you're emerging into the field of arts and health. And the funding is about equipping you to work with maybe those people who are vulnerable. So you're sort of at a different stage. It would be different if your work, if those artists that you were working with were in turn working with someone else. So then maybe it would be you and two others, or you and one other person.
Could apply for the grant, but you have to be then working
With
others within the community or within a setting. You need your partner organization where your work is reaching those people.
Because otherwise, if we were to fund what you're talking about, we'd be supporting professionalism, if that is the wrong word, rather than artists who are emerging into the field of arts and health.
Cool, thank you.
Does that answer that, Lucy?
I think so, yeah. I need to get it straight in my own head.
Yeah. But come back to us on email.
Helen Keenan, I can see you have a question as well.
Yeah, hi ladies, thanks so much.
Hi, Helen.
For all your really helpful info so far. So I'm a multidisciplinary artist, and over the last year and a half.
Will you come in a bit closer because you're very low?
I'm very low. Hang on, let me turn up my mic here. Is that any better?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know why that's happening. Sorry. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm a multidisciplinary artist, and over the last year or so I have started introducing new mediums into my multidisciplinary practice. So I do dance drama, and I now have a lot of work with tech and poetry and visual art. So if you're like, and I have done maybe 2 or 3 smaller projects within nursing homes before, which was my concern. Maybe they'll be like, oh well, you're not emerging because you've done 3 things already. And I've gotten a seed funding grant from the Irish Hospice Foundation, and in 2025 I got the bursary from the Arts and Health bursary to reflect on my practice. So I just wanted to double check. That's one separate question. I just want to double check if I'd still be seen as emerging, but also when you're saying, it needs to be something that's new and exciting, can I say, well, I actually, from my multidisciplinary practice, I now want to work with this new medium within my practice with this new audience. So instead of working with older people in nursing homes, I actually want to work on health and well-being for young people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, because that is new and it is emerging, and it's something you can't just repeat what you're doing. You have to come up with something new and innovative, and that's what that is.
Okay, and there's no restriction like dance circus and stuff, you can do arts and health with that kind of wacky stuff.
No.
No. Yeah.
No, like this is going to be a competitive process. There's obviously only three artists who will be successful, and it's a national call. So in the forum, it's about using that space in the forum to show us how what you're doing is new and how it's supporting you to emerge more into the field of arts and health.
Perfect, thank you.
Yeah. And there will also be training opportunities. There has been in year 1 and in year 2, there'll be lots more training opportunities and CPDs for other artists, you know.
Yeah, so even if you're not successful,
Yeah.
hopefully you might come along to some of our training opportunities.
And it is a 4-year project, so obviously there'll be grant opportunity in year 3 and year 4, and there'll be opportunities to meet and possibly work with other EU artists and learn from them. So there's lots of other opportunities through the project. You know, if it happens that you're not successful on this grant call out, you know, we have further opportunities.
Yeah. So are there other questions, or is that clear? Okay. Okay, well, I'm going to stop recording. I can find it.
There.